To no one's surprise, I am in a lot of Dead Space communities. And last year in one of the groups, I saw a bit of buzz about this game called Fort Solis. So I was like, yeah, man, let me add that to my queue. I love Dead Space. And I'd love more experiences like that. So I went into this game thinking I was going to be playing a cheap clone of my favorite game. Boy, I was wrong. What I got was some of the best motion capture I've ever seen. Some of the best facial expressions I've ever seen in gaming. Incredible voice acting, Irish and Scottish pro tags with the accents. Fort Solis was developed by a tiny Polish studio called Fallen Leaf. They released Fort Solis in August of 2023 to mostly mixed reviews, but it features the superb talents of Roger Clark, Julia Brown, and Troy Baker. Yes, that Troy Baker. So to say, I was surprised at the very least. Fort Solis was kind of neat. But from the moment I booted this game up to the moment I finished, I was completely and totally just lost in the world of Fort Solis. It has everything going for it in this department. The dialogue, the character movements, the world building, and oh, the atmosphere. So let's take a little bit to talk about some of these things. To start, you spend most of the game listening to Jack and Jess talk to each other. And the chemistry between these two, man, it feels real. Listening to them talk to each other felt like I was just listening in to two close friends have an honest and earnest conversation with each other. And honestly, as simple as most of it was just lovely. Here's a little taste of that.
Well, this is spooky.
Why?
The place is lifeless.
Are you sure you're at the right place?
I mean, I think so.
Maybe best to grab the schematics. Just to confirm, I can access the site files from here.
Good idea. Standard issue. It's not as comfy as it looks.
I've always liked mine.
Well, I'm not drawing a dog on mine.
It's a frog?
Oh.
Ooh.
Drinking on the job?
Nothing wrong with staying hydrated out here.
We both know that wasn't water.
You're not the one walking around in the dark. It worked.
What did?
The I-5.
No, be careful handling those. They were replaced for a reason.
Outside of Jack and Jess, there is a plethora of video and audio logs, and dude, everything looks and sounds incredible. The way the faces move just really makes me feel like I'm watching a movie at times. And if I wasn't holding a controller, I probably just would have stopped numerous times to wait for the game to just move on its own. And the way that the characters talked, it was so good. Just like with the pro tags, the side characters were fully fleshed out and lived in. It was a real breath of fresh air.
Signing off the week no more hopeful than we were at the start. The soil here, on the Solis Planum, continues to show encouraging signs of adaptation, but the plant life that interacts with it, however, seems to aggressively grow. and expire. Almost like an accelerant.
Something I have started to notice in games, though, is that Unreal games, like new Unreal 4 and 5, they kind of got this vibe to them. If you've played Callisto Protocol, you'll get what I mean the second you start the game. Unreal games are just kind of like that. Which, having played so many Unreal games at this point, and so many games are being released in it, it was one of the few things that pulled me out of being completely immersed. Because like, I don't know, man. Unreal horror games are just kind of like that. They have this vibe. I don't know how to explain it. So you start the game playing as Jack Leary, and it is made very clear from the outset the world you are playing in has existed before the player character, and it will exist long after. And when you eventually visit Fort Solis, Jack comments constantly on what's going on there. He had no idea what was going on, so we're learning what's going on at the same time he is, and it's fantastic. And the atmosphere, it's such a huge thing in Fort Solis. Every second you play, it feels like the other shoe could drop at any moment, which creates this incredibly tense experience where you're just paranoid about everything all of the time. And I fucking love that. Now, early on, I noticed a person walking through the storm as I walked Jack up to Fort Solis entrance. I'll show that right here. You can see me being like, oh, and I try to go follow the guy. So knowing that at least one person was around kept me on edge at all times. But even if I had not noticed the silhouette, that sense of paranoia would still be there. When you walk these dark, abandoned halls, the anticipation of someone or something shambling out of the shadows, it never goes away. However, if you don't have years of sci-fi horror literary language notched on your belt, it might not be a hugely paranoid experience. So I can't really speak on that. I'm just... food. So, just to reiterate, I went into this fully expecting a third-person, over-the-shoulder action horror game. I did not expect to be playing third-person PT, which, as I stated in my Observer review, which can be found somewhere up here, it's not a problem. The third person orientation gives it a unique feel until you realize that it is just third person PT. There, however, are no real puzzles, but the game does encourage you to explore early on. So by the time you get to a door that does need a key or a special item, the odds are you've probably already managed to find that item or key. Now there's one puzzle in the game, and it's really not much of a puzzle, but I still managed to spend like 30 minutes trying to sort it out. It's the server room puzzle. The footage back here, you see me running around. So at first I tried turning on all of the servers because I was all like, yeah, that makes sense. All the servers being on need to communicate with the world. Yeah, that checks out. But the game was like, nah, you have to activate 5 very specific servers in order. And then when you activate it, you have to play this dumb little mini game where you gotta like push the button at the right time, and it only ever deviated from just being very direct once. So it's like, what's even the point of playing the mini game at all? It was probably one of the more frustrating aspects of the gameplay for me. The animations are cool though. The little, I don't know, the little holodeck thing that the pro tags wear on their arm, that was cool. That was real cool. But the map that they have on it had a lot of potential, and they just let it go to waste. It was confusing to look at, and I wish like I could move while I had it open. That would have been very useful. But alas, it wasn't a thing. Okay, so before I completely abandon this section, I want to complain about what I found to be Fort Solis' biggest crime. Now, I have no real issue with QuickTime events, or QTEs as I will be calling them from henceforth. I've been playing the shit out of Helldivers 2 this week. I better not have any issues with QuickTime events. But these QuickTime events are often they often happen so quickly. I missed the vast majority of them. At one point, to solve an early QTE, I had to put my controller down and use my keyboard because it required the most precise timing and positioning. My controller isn't bad. I know that for a fact. But I think the QTE directional instructions may have been too precise. When I instructed a direction, when it instructed a direction, it meant exactly that direction. And nothing more, nothing less. Not even 1/1,000,000th of a degree off of the axis. So again, I like QTEs. No problem with them. But you gotta warn a player that it's coming so they can be ready for the prompt. I often had no idea I was about to be in a life or death situation, and that button I was gonna have to push was gonna be the fucking right bumper. And I better push it in 0.5 seconds or I'm gonna fail. It's a fucking headache. So, to summarize all of this, the gameplay, it's third-person PT with shitty QTEs. When I look back on my year this year and I think of all the great stories that I've experienced, Fort Solis definitely will be one that is on my mind. I kind of liked what the writers were going for it to be. You stop right there. I won't have you sit here and lie about this just for the views and likes. Get out of here. Go on. Get. All right, geez, okay. Take it from here. Now, when I look back on our year and I think of all the stories we experienced, I'm going to think of Fort Solis and how it completely and utterly dropped the ball on what was otherwise a storytelling freebie. So Earth is dying from some plague, and scientists are working on a compound that can make plants grow at a hugely accelerated rate. But they also wither and die much faster. This compound also leaves contaminants in organisms that consume it, making them deadly sick. Which is something they were working on fixing for the final release, which to our knowledge, the problem is never fixed. So when one of the guys, Wyatt, goes crazy and kills everyone, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure why he did that. But at one point, we assumed they completely solved the problem. But Earth was so far away, they were just gonna let Earth die while taking more colonists from Earth to populate Mars. and homeboy had a family on Earth who he was deeply missing and couldn't fathom doing anything on Mars that would hurt them, so he killed everyone to maybe like send the compound samples to Earth so they could be saved too. Well, that wasn't it at all. I missed a few things according to the game. The food they were making was distributed to all the colonies on Mars, and thereby all the colonies were infected with the virus from the food. Wyatt had raised the alarm, but nobody bothered hearing him out. They had plans to ship the food and soil samples to Earth, and he said, no siree. So he killed everyone about it to prevent it. Wyatt was a doctor, so why was he not working on a solution to the virus? Why? But he did end up sending a plant sample, back home to his wife, who, by the by, are dead at the end of the game from having been infected with the virus. I suppose it was 1 part isolation, 2 part space madness that made Wyatt drop the ball. So the story is split into 4 roughly 1-hour parts, so the game can be experienced like you're just sitting on your couch watching a few episodes here and there. We beat the game, however, in about 3 hours and some change. But there were so many things that could have been done to prevent this real stand. But there were so many things that could have been done to make this a real standout piece. The potential was there, the love, the passion. You could tell they were trying their best in all areas of development, but this one, which is a pretty important one if you want your players to come back to experience the story time and time again. Horror, it can be a lot of things, and for Fort Solis, it's the paranoia that slowly seeps in. It's the isolation you feel as you navigate the dark hallways alone. It's the blood on the walls with nobody around to identify it to. It's the long dark hallways waiting for something to be waiting for you in the dark, but it never comes. Now, as I've stated before, and I will undoubtedly say again before the end of this video, I went into this thinking I was going to be playing Dead Space, but on Mars. So my experience was completely affected by my expectations, which isn't bad. I think in the end, I was able to catch up with what the game was trying to tell me, which is great, by the way. It's great. Fantastic. So, you'll spend most of the game alone in near total isolation. All that separates you from it is the voice of your partner over your comm system. You walk poorly lit hallways looking for any clue as to what happened, and you're just alone. And the early experience really made me feel like I was going to get like an alien isolation kind of experience, which further shaped my experience as I started to expect things from it. And I suppose it was through my expectations that anticipation just kept building until I, the player, started to get more paranoid about the situation. And I started to feel that just as the player character was starting to feel it as well, it was kind of neat to see me and the player character get on the same page, even if we were reading different books at first. But for me, it stayed this way for most of the game, just waiting, paranoid for when the shoe finally dropped. And it did. And it wasn't what I expected. And I'm gonna be honest, I really liked that. So while Fort Solis isn't a horror survival game like I would normally be talking about, it's still a horror game. Well, it's like a drama, thriller, cinematic gaming experience But thrillers are often just the cousins of horror. So while it's not outright a horror experience, a lot of those same anxieties of the genre are there. With this atmosphere, just reading paranoia in both the player and the player character, Fort Solis is a wonderfully solid horror experience. So, Fort Solis, in my opinion, it's a really solid experience whose only crime was that it was made by a small studio. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Nothing. I have no issue with any devs or any games, but the game had a AAA scope and it had indie development quirks. It's a rock solid horror experience in the first 3 chapters, and it just really falters in the end, where the story and the mystique of the world just crumble to dust. The voice acting and the motion capture are really a standout feature that was just truly stupendous, and I hope to see more of that in video games. Not like Callisto, where they hired these fucking AAA actors. I guess not AAA actors, but just, they hired actors. Fucking the dude from that one show, and fucking Karen Fukuhara from The Boys, and the other dude from that other show. Like, I didn't watch those shows, but I know that they were on shows. Okay, they were on TV. People knew who they were, like, outside of gaming. But this game has Troy Baker, the dude who did your boy from Red Dead Redemption 2, and that one, like, Scottish or Irish actress. I'd never heard of her before this game, and looking at her roles, I don't think anyone else has either. And they tracked their facial animations, they did all their mocap and shit, and I think it worked out great. I think more games should do that with their voice actors and voice actresses, and not just hire fucking Woody Harrelson, or what was that dude's fucking name? The fucking all right, because he's got his own little fucking sci-fi game coming out, and I'm like low-key hype about it, but I'm like mad that they needed a fucking celebrity to promote this shit. Like, why do games need celebrities? Games do well on their own. Games are doing so much better than movies and film and television. The fuck do games need them for? They need games. So I only had issue with the motion capture and voice acting once, and it was just a continuity issue, in my opinion. After you switch from Jack to Jess, her voice acting is just a little nonchalant, but once she sees Wyatt and starts interacting with Wyatt, the panic starts to set in her, and it's so quick that you probably won't notice it. I did, but that's because I was looking for things. I am looking for those things, so I can talk about them with you. So should you buy Fort Solis? Yeah, I think so. I think you should. It's the first game for a new fledgling studio. And you can see what they're trying to do, and you can feel the love and care that they put into their debut title. And I very much look forward to their next title, Project Cataclysm, whatever it may be. All right, so Fort Solis at the time of filming is currently $29.99 USD on the PS5, and is normally $24.99 on Steam. If what I saw was correct, it's on sale right now on Steam. At the filming, that deal goes away. I think on March 1st or March 5th. It is not on sale on PS5. I don't think it's worth that price. I think it's more of a $15 to $20 game. So if you can get it for like $14.99, anywhere between $14.99 and $19.99, I think is the optimal price for this game. Optimal. I think that is the price that it is worth for its length and for some of the some of the issues. Just the lack of polish in some places. That's it. I think it's still worth buying, but it's just not worth as much as it's listed for. And you know, the devs think they're worth as much as they listed for, and that's fine. If you want to buy it for that price, fucking do it. I'm not going to sit here and rest on my laurels and tell you, hey, don't buy that game at that price unless it's that fucking cat game that's only like 2 hours long and they were selling it for like $30. Are you kidding me? The game, I can give the controller to my fucking... I'm not getting into it. I'm not gonna fucking hate that cat game, and the fact that it was fucking nominated for like Game of the Year type shit. Bullshit. Now, I ran the game on a Ryzen 7 5700X and a 3060. I personally had to drop the game down to medium graphics for a stable experience. So I would recommend getting this for PS5 over PC if you have a similar system to mine or something less powerful. But if you have, say, a 3070 or better, get it for PC and bask in the high fidelity graphics in all its glory. So you made it to the end. I love that for us. I love seeing you here at the end of my videos. It's getting kind of romantic, you know? But since you are here, why don't you down below, hit one of the thumbs, either one, hit the subscribe button. Maybe tell me about a time that you played a game where you went in with certain expectations only to have those expectations completely dashed. And you know what else? While you're down there, why don't you check out some of my links? I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, it's kind of where the reviews happen. So if you'd like to see that in action, feel free to join me. You can also ask me to highlight certain things in my reviews while you are there. It'll give me some time to ruminate on your question and request. I also have a Patreon. That's also below. It's just $1. Just $1. You get everything, access to everything for just $1. The script for this video went up like today. I finished the script today. Here we are filming. Same day as finishing the script. How about that? Now, at the time of writing, I am still currently playing Dead Space 3 with Aurora VT on Twitch. We hit the halfway mark today, and very excited to see. I've seen a lot of new things in the game that I have not seen in the decade it's been out. I've been seeing a lot of things for the first time, and it's kinda cool, I gotta say. So if you want to see us finish that, this video is coming out next week. I'm filming this on Friday, so it should be out maybe by Monday or Tuesday. I stream on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Why don't you come hang out? Come see the video get made. You know what I'm saying? So, now after Dead Space, we will be playing one of my personal favorites, Alien Isolation. I am very excited to get into it and talk about it. Oh my god, I'm ready to gush. Anyway, that's it. That's the video. Slosh out.